Hello everyone, welcome back to Sweet Yellow House. It's time for our Friday craft. Just to remind you, we do have a Patreon account if you want to go over there and become a patron and get the key to the house. We're going to start out with project 1, and our project piece is this wicker cone. And what we're going to do with this is we are going to turn it into a tree. I have this Sizzix 3D embossing folder thing that I got from Hobby Lobby. I think it was on sale, and what it does is it die cuts out this a leaf. I just grabbed my big box of paper stash leftovers from other projects, and what I started to do is just cut my leaves out. I practiced on this green here piece of paper, but what I ended up doing is grabbing many different types of paper in a color scheme that I thought went together. I didn't really much care for this item. It broke and it just didn't seem like I could get the hang of it. By the time it was done, I ended up just lifting out that metal piece and using it as like a thin die cut. So since I did that, the embossing part of it didn't work, so I just grabbed a random embossing folder and embossed the leaves separately to give them some texture. So after I got all the leaves cut out, I then just ran them through, like I said, several at a time through the embossing folder, and that seemed to do the trick. I had about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 different patterns of paper. So once I had all that cut, I just kind of mixed them all up together because I just wanted to put them on the tree at random. So I grabbed my glue gun because I felt like it would work instant hold. Since it was paper and wicker, it was probably going to hold fairly quickly. What I did also too, before I put them on, you see me here, I'm just kind of bending those leaves out just to give it some shape so that they're not just laying on the tree, that they're actually flaring out to give it some depth and shape and interest, especially with the leaves having some embossing on them. It just gives it some more interest. So I just worked my way around the tree. I did a row of the big leaves, and then above that I did a row of the smaller leaves, just working in between the big leaves. And then when I got done with each row, I just turned the cone and secured the leaves from the back using the glue gun. So I just worked my way up the tree, as you can see here, and adding those leaves. And once I got up to the top, I had leaves left over, so I just grabbed what I had and kind of filled in the blanks with the leftover leaves. And this is what it ended up like. It came out really cute. It almost reminds me of like a quilt because of all the patterned paper and stuff. And I just thought that it was, it turned out really nice. So project 2 this is the piece that I'm going to be working on. Of course, it seems like I always do a frame of some sorts in every Friday craft I have. So I grabbed this and I removed the backing and also the glass. And then I removed the clips out of the back that held the glass and the backing in. And I just removed those with a pair of pliers, and they came out pretty easy. I just pulled them out. I had this little canvas that I actually got from the dollar store, and it fit into this frame perfectly, so that's what I'm going to use with that. So the first thing that I'm going to do with the canvas is that I'm going to apply 2 coats of this black paint, and this is just some sample paint that I got. At one time I thought I was going to paint my bedroom black, but I didn't really like that. So but this is just some leftover paint that I had, and so I just wanted to use it up. So I'm doing 2 coats on this, and then I'm gonna let it dry. After that was dry, I grabbed my IOD jingle mold and my IOD holly lane mold and some of this paper clay, and I am gonna start covering up the frame as I always do. And so I'm just kind of trying to decide what elements I'm gonna take from each mold set, and I'm just gonna make those. I think I've said this before, like trying to decide on a design is probably the hardest part for me. I have difficulties deciding, so that is probably takes the longest part of any kind of project for myself, especially if I have 2 or 3 different ideas. It's really hard for me to settle on one, so sometimes I just gotta either ask someone else in the house as a tiebreaker, or just go for broke and try to maybe combine all 3 ideas. So here just started putting together some of the elements and got a design down, and then started filling in. So this frame has like a little like a really deep kind of curve there, so I'm just putting some extra little clumps of clay on the back of those molds so that it gives it something else to hold on to. Once I got everything set with the little supports on the back and everything, then I pulled everything off piece by piece and glued that down with the Gorilla Glue. I believe I used the wood glue. And it seems a little tedious to have to go back and do it, but the little clumps of the clay on kind of filling in that little cave part of the frame really offers it a lot more support, and you're not going to have issues with them popping off because they're not in contact with that frame as much. So it's worth doing it because it's gonna give you some longevity to your pieces there. So once I got everything set, I let that dry. I let the mold and the clay and the glue dry, and then I took it out and I sprayed it with my bare matte black paint. I'm going to turn my attention back to that canvas, and I'm just going to grab a transfer from the IOD Christmas transfer set, and I believe this is the new set. It's not the old one. And I'm going to pick something out and I'm going to transfer that on there. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to go right back to my frame, and I grabbed the Dixie Bell bronze patina paint because I wanted to try it out, and I have to say that it does not disappoint. I love it just as much as I love the copper and the iron paint. And so here I'm putting on the second coat, and I'm using the green patina spray, and just I think I might even like this more than the iron, but seriously, I love all 3 of these. This frame came out so beautiful. I am just so impressed with these paints. If you have not picked them up or have tried them on anything, try them. You will love them. They are so awesome. I just want to do everything with these paints, but I have some really great ideas coming up that I'm gonna make some maybe ornaments and jewelry pieces out of using this treatment, and I'm just so in love with these. Everything you put them on just makes it look so much better. Here I'm using the air dryer just to dry them quickly. It doesn't really make anything react quickly. It just kind of dries it up. I just wanted to see, I needed it to get done because I needed to take some pictures, and this is how that turned out. Look how beautiful that is. It just is gorgeous. The finish on that is amazing. I just can't say enough good things about it. So if you haven't picked them up to try them, go try them. let me know how they work for you. They are so beautiful. So enough about that. Let's go to project 3. And here I have these little, I don't even know what these are. They're like little plaque thingies that have like music composers on them. So right here what I'm doing is I'm going to close up some small holes that they have on the sides of them, because I'm actually going to fill these. So I'm taking my UV resin and I'm just putting like a little piece of paper in back of that, and then I'm using my UV light to seal that up quickly, because it's almost like an instant seal on that. So, and then what I did was I put a ring around the outside of that, and then again using my UV resin and my UV light. And that's because it's just a plate that's sitting on top, so it's still able to leak out of there. So, and I want to make sure that I seal all of that up, because I don't want any leaks. So ask me how I know. So after that's all done, I'm grabbing my regular resin. My 2-part resin is just equal parts, and I'm measuring those out, and I'm going to mix them up together. And then I am adding some coloring to this. I'm adding this red color, and I'm adding probably about 4 or 5 drops, and I'm only adding 1 drop of black to this. The black is super pigmented, and it does the job. So I like the color red. I just wanted something a little bit darker just to bring it down. I like the richer colors of red for Christmas. So I just thought that these making a little bit darker, and then I ended up adding a little bit more red to it anyway, just to kind of bring it back from that black a little bit. So I'm pouring the resin into the little center here, and I'm just moving that around, making sure that it's getting into all the little corners, and that everything comes out even, because I want to even plate here. I want an even piece of resin. When that dries, I want to make sure that it's even. So I have my heat gun, and I'm using that. And when you put a heat gun on resin, it actually helps bring those air bubbles to the top and pop everything, so you have a smooth finish, and you don't end up with it being pitted because of the air bubbles. So I grabbed my Iron Orchid transfers again, and I'm picking a couple of things out of that, because I'm gonna put those in the center once that resin has set up. I like this because I like the little birds on there, so I decided that I was gonna use some birds here, and a little bit of holly sprigs, and I'm just cutting those apart. And as you can see, the resin has set up, and usually that takes about overnight, so you want to give it ample time to set up and cure. So, and now I'm just placing those transfers down where I want them. And when you put resin or transfers on resin or glass, resin acts as glass would. You need to commit, because if you get a transfer anywhere close to this, it's going to stick and you're not going to be able to get it up. So make sure that you have a good idea where you're going to place it before you get it down. Once I got all those transfers down, I just started making bows, and I used a little leafy ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and that's how those came out. And these you could use as wall hangings or as ornaments for your tree, and I just think they look super cute with the birds. So thank you for watching and spending your time with me, and I do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps me out, and I will be looking for you on Tuesday when our next custom homes video comes up. See you then.